There is a moment in the depths of silence where we realize that much of our suffering is not happening now. It is happening in the mind. The past, though seemingly gone, continues to live within us as thought, as memory, as emotion. And often this past holds pain. Many carry resentment, a deep wound that has been kept alive not by what happened, but by the story that repeats itself in the mind. The question then arises, what is forgiveness? Is it about absolving another? Is it about forgetting? Or is it something far deeper? Forgiveness is not an act of doing, but a state of being. It is not something we give to another. It is something we allow within ourselves. It is the recognition that the present moment is untouched by the past, that the pain we hold is not caused by what happened, but by our resistance to what is. To forgive is to step out of the story, to no longer seek justice in the realm of thought, but to find peace in the stillness of now. When we no longer derive our identity from pain, we become free. And in that freedom, forgiveness is not a choice we make. It is simply what remains. So ask yourself, are you holding on to something that no longer serves you? Is there a grievance that has become part of who you believe yourself to be? If so, simply observe. Not with judgment, not with the desire to change it, but with presence. And in that presence, you will see, true forgiveness is not about the other. It is about awakening from the illusion that you were ever truly hurt. The past is not happening now, and yet it lingers, not as an external force but as a presence within the mind, alive in thought, in emotion, in memory. We do not suffer from what happened. We suffer from our attachment to the story of what happened. The event itself has long passed, but the mind holds on to it, replaying it like a film with no end. Each time we recall the pain, we give it new life. Each time we resist what was, we strengthen its hold over us. But what if we stopped? What if, for a moment, we allowed ourselves to step out of the cycle of thought and simply be here, in this moment, untouched by the past, free from the weight of yesterday? And in that stillness we might begin to see, suffering was never in the event itself. It was only ever in the mind. Resentment is not the wound itself. It is the story the mind tells about the wound again and again. The event may have lasted a moment, but the mind turns it into a lifetime, replaying the words, revisiting the emotions, keeping the pain alive, not because it still exists, but because we refuse to let it go. We believe that holding on to resentment protects us, that if we remember, we can prevent it from happening again. But in truth, it is not protection. It is imprisonment. The past is no longer real, yet we relive it as if it were. Each time we recall the hurt, we reinforce its presence. Each time we feed the story, we keep ourselves bound to it. But what if we stepped back? What if we saw the story for what it is? Just thoughts passing through. And in seeing that, we become free. Forgiveness is not a gift we give to another. It is a release we give to ourselves. It is not about saying what happened was right. It is not about pretending it never hurt. It is about no longer allowing that pain to define who we are. The mind holds on to wounds, turning them into identity. I was betrayed. I was hurt. I was wronged. And yet, who is this I that clings to the past? Is it not just a thought, a collection of memories? True forgiveness is not about excusing. It is about stepping beyond the identity of the wounded self. It is about realizing that who you are is not what happened to you. It is not the story the mind keeps repeating. It is the awareness beyond all stories. And in that awareness, there is nothing left to forgive, only freedom. The present moment is always new. It does not carry the weight of yesterday. It does not hold the burden of what was. It simply is, still, silent, unaffected. Yet the mind does not live in the present. It pulls the past into now, dressing this moment in old memories, bringing pain where there is none, carrying resentment when the moment asks for nothing. We assume the past has power over us. that what happened must shape what is happening. But look closely. Right here, right now, where is the past? It exists only as thought, only as a shadow in the mind. If you do not think about it, does it remain? The present moment is free until we chain it to what is gone. Let go of the chain, and you will see. Nothing was ever holding you back but your own mind. Freedom is not something we achieve. It is something we allow. It is already here, beneath the weight of resistance. Resistance is holding on to what was. It is the refusal to accept, the refusal to release. The mind clings to pain, believing it serves a purpose, believing that by holding on, we remain in control. But in truth, resistance is what keeps us trapped. The more we fight what is, the deeper we sink into suffering. Letting go is not an act of weakness. It is the most profound strength. It is the willingness to surrender, not in defeat, but in trust, to allow the present moment to be as it is, to no longer argue with life, to no longer carry the past as if it were still real. And in that letting go, we do not lose. We gain everything. Do not force yourself to forgive. Do not struggle to let go. Simply observe. See the pain without labeling it as good or bad. See the resentment without calling it right or wrong. Just notice. Watch the thoughts as they arise. Feel the emotions as they move through you, but do not become them. The moment you say, "This is my pain," you make it part of you, but if you simply observe, it begins to lose its grip. Like a cloud drifting across the sky, it comes and it goes. You are not the cloud. You are the sky. The pain is not who you are. It is only something passing through. And when you stop resisting, stop judging, stop identifying, something shifts. Not because you forced it, but because in true observation there is no longer anything to hold on to. Pain feels real. It seems to leave a mark, a scar upon the self. But who is the self that suffers? Look closely. Is it the body? Is it the thoughts? Or is it something deeper, something untouched by what happens in the world? There is a presence within you that has never been harmed, never broken, never diminished by anything that has occurred. This is who you truly are, not the story, not the past, not the one who was wronged, but the awareness that watches, unchanged beyond it all. When you awaken to this truth, pain loses its power. The wound is no longer yours to carry. The past no longer defines you. Forgiveness is not something you do. It is what happens naturally when you realize nothing real was ever hurt. So, the question is not how to forgive. It is not about effort, nor is it about forcing yourself to let go. The real question is, can you see beyond the illusion of the wounded self? Can you step out of the story and rest in the awareness that has always been whole? When you do, forgiveness is not a task. It is not something to be achieved. It simply is, a natural unfolding, like a river returning to the ocean, like the sky releasing the passing storm. Nothing to hold on to, nothing to fight against. Just presence, just peace. And in that peace you realize you were free all along.